The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) was established in 2003. The commission started operations in a small office located within the premises of the Bureau of Public Enterprises (BPE), from where it moved to a 3-bedroom duplex at number 1, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Aso Villa, Abuja. This building was occupied by the commission for over a year before relocating to its present head office at number 5, Formella Street, Wuse 2. With growth in its workforce and operations, the present headquarters soon became grossly inadequate. Confronted by the challenge for additional workspaces, the Commission acquired the parcel of land located at the back of its present head office to erect an operations headquarters. The building, whose construction started in 2006, is named after late Major General Tunde Idiagbon and was commissioned in 2007 by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. This facility, also known as Idiagbon House, was built purposely for the operations department. Among the facilities in the edifice are a standard cell for both male and female, mini exhibit room, mini forensic space, interrogation rooms, sick bay and office spaces. Seized vehicles were also parked at the exhibit park behind the building. After the commissioning of the Idiagbon House, the construction of the Maria Costa Hall, also known as Block D, which is next to the Commission's main admin building, commenced. It was completed and commissioned in 2007. Adamu Farouk Jada is the Commission's head of facilities.
We have started operating in the villa that is around 2003 in a small duplex, whereby we have very few staff at that time. And you know, with time, the office is growing. We have so many staffs. At that time, we decided that we better move out from that villa so that we can get a bigger place. So we moved to Wuse 2 around 2005. So there we now acquired a property from former embassy of Saudi Arabia. That's where we are. We call it a Block A now. This is our main administration office now.
After the construction of the two buildings, the Commission continued to expand as more hands were hired to meet the ever-demanding job of waging a successful war against economic and financial crimes in the country. By this time, the Commission started renting properties for other departments and units. Presently, departments and units occupying rented buildings include the Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering SCUMO, Bank Fraud Unit, Enlightenment and Reorientation Unit, Capital Markets Insurance Fraud Unit, and the Legal and Prosecution Department. Others are Procurement Fraud Unit, Extractive Industry Fraud Unit, Department of Internal Affairs, Economic Governance Unit, Asset Forfeiture Department, Department of Policy, Planning and Statistics, and the Intelligence and Special Operations Section, ISOS.
Even if we have some restrictions sometimes, there are other times that we have to relax our restrictions. And at the same time, we are very close to the neighborhood people where they can be able to see what we are doing, who enters our office, who comes out from our office. So this is something that we feel is not healthy.
In 2010, when it was evident that the money spent on renting properties and the attendant security risks that comes with it were becoming unbearable, the Commission applied for and secured allocation of 5 acres of land from the Federal Capital Development Agency (FCDA) to build a befitting new head office which will house all the departments and units in one location. Contract for the construction of the headquarters building was awarded in 2010 at the cost of 18,867,283,615 naira 14 kobo. The construction commenced the same year with a completion period of 36 months.
We feel it's not longer safe for us because to keep securities in all these locations and to coordinate them back again is always a very, very huge challenge to us. So in that regard, we decided to go to FCDA to acquire a bigger plot where we'll build our corporate headquarters building. Unfortunately, we were granted about 5 hectares of land along Airport Road.
The construction company, Julius Berger Nigeria Limited, was mobilized to site immediately after the foundation laying. But at some point, the project was suspended owing to lack of funds. For 2.5 years, the project was abandoned, thus making the 2015 delivery date impossible. In 2016, when Ibrahim Magu assumed office as the acting chairman of the EFCC, one of his first priorities was to see to the completion of the project. He seized every opportunity to solicit for government's assistance through the legislature in order to complete the project and move all the Commission's offices scattered around Abuja under one roof. Construction work has since resumed on the site. Magu, during one of his inspection tour of the site, expressed satisfaction with the progress of work done so far.
Just before our departure from the office, I thought I was worried there was no proper resumption. But you can see that the work is going on now. And I think it's good if we continue at this rate, maybe sometimes in June it will be over.
Have you experienced any challenges in your quest to have the building completed?
No, I have not had any complaint, but of course a very gigantic project like this, you cannot say that there aren't any problems. But we will overcome, if there are problems, we will overcome the problems.
Wolfgang Guesch is the managing director, Julius Berger Nigeria PLC. He assured that with continued funding, the project will be ready by 2017.
As we just have seen, the carcass work is basically finished. We are now in the finishing works, mechanical installation, electrical installation. The majority of the facade is already in place. And we have now mobilized all resources to finish the building as quick as possible. Because I'm happy to say that the client really is supporting and honoring the contract in terms of funding.
Many visitors to the site, including Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, applauded the project concept. They all pledged support to ensure that the project is completed on time.
For me, it's the befitting of a country such as Nigeria, and I'm indeed very proud that we are putting up this thing for our anti-corruption agency. And I do hope that this will serve not only as a center of excellence, but also a place that will help to drive Nigeria out of the corruption index. So this is indeed very befitting. And I do hope that those who use this facility will apply all their intelligence and learning in an exposure in ensuring that the essence of this building is achieved. It's not just the building is being set up for human beings, for a purpose. And that purpose is especially to reduce, if not possibly eradicate corruption in Nigeria.
Also at the site was the Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, who said due to the nature of the Commission's operations, there's a need to have a secured and solid structure where all members of staff will operate from.
You can now imagine any person who comes into this complex, assuming it is completed, the kind of impression is going to leave with, even if it doesn't go inside. That speaks to that person that yes, this nation is serious about the fight against corruption. That was what informed the reasoning behind the resuscitation of this project by this government, by the government of President Buhari. We've had before that at a point in time, from the contractors, they had to shut down work on this building, which will inure to the benefit of our citizens. But you can see that progress has been made, and I can confirm with what I have seen that I'm satisfied as a person, and it can only motivate me as a parliamentarian to want to see that we finish this building as soon as possible and we commence operation in this building.
Also at the site were members of the Senate Committee on Financial Crimes and Anti-Corruption, led by its chairman, Senator Chukwuka Utazi.
We are satisfied with what we have seen on the ground here and the job we have set out to do for this country. You know, all this effort and all this kind of amount of money that is already invested in this place, and we are still going to invest in this place, just to ensure that we prevent the commission of crime.
Honorable Kayode Oladele, his House of Representatives counterpart, also led members of his committee to the project site. The committee pledges their continued support to the EFCC.
I can tell you, this is a masterpiece. They are all well impressed. They never knew that anything like this is going on here. So coming to see it today, to them, it's like they were asking me, how much do we need to finish this? How much do we need to complete? There's an excitement in the air, unlike if we sat in the office looking at the paper and asking them how much would they need. So it's something that to us is very essential. We have come, we have seen this. Seeing is believing, and they now know the reason why the EFCC is asking for funds to complete the project.
Other visitors on tour of the new site are the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, PACAC, led by its chairman, Professor Ise Sagai.
The EFCC is really the bulwark, is the main agency, really, for the fight against corruption. It is the agency in which virtually the whole country is looking up to. because of their achievements so far. And what they've done, particularly in the last 9 months or so, has given us hope that Nigeria has the capacity to deal with corruption.
International stakeholders have also pledged support for the early completion of the project. Alexander Arvizu, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, U.S. Department of State, led his team to see the progress of work done on the new site. Arvizu, who was on a courtesy visit to the acting chairman of EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, said all must be done to ensure that corruption is eradicated from Nigeria.
You know, corruption is a never-ending battle. You know, if you take any common index like Transparency International, whether you're number 1 or number 200 on the list, there's always going to be corruption cases. And the important thing is for there to be forward progress. We in the United States believe in our Nigerian partners. We're very proud that the people who are fighting corruption in Nigeria look to the United States as one of its principal partners.
Members of the United Kingdom Parliamentary Committee on International Development were also at the site. The leader of the delegation, Stephen Tweed, chairman of the committee, expressed satisfaction over the activities of the Commission in the fight against corruption and encouraged it to be steadfast in its vision to make Nigeria a corrupt-free nation.
It has been a fantastic opportunity here today to hear about the work to tackle corruption in Nigeria, and my message is that we as British parliamentarians support the very important work that's being done to tackle corruption in Nigeria.
From the view of all concerned, the main challenge standing in the way of early completion of the project is funding. But Minister of Budget and National Planning, Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, who led other members of the ministry to the site, pledged government support in terms of funding for the speedy completion of the project.
I must say that I know that there's a new EFCC headquarters being built, but I never imagined the scale of the project. It's very impressive. A lot of work has been done, and there's a little bit more that needs to be done. It will provide the most convenient working environment for the personnel of the EFCC. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the project right now. This is money that is very well spent, I must say. And we will ensure that government provides sufficient funding so that this project is completed as quickly as possible.
The head office building, which is 70 to 75% completed, is designed to accommodate over 1,000 members of staff. It will consist of a main building which has 10 floors and a basement. Other structures in the premises include the forensic building, standard male and female cells, clinic, and a parking deck for 500 cars. Provision of standard security gates, generator house, water treatment facilities, seaway management, and external water management systems consisting of a network of drainages to manage storm water are also included in the project. The buildings also have emergency exits, fire alarm installations, cooling systems, and ICT networks. Very importantly also, the physically challenged and people with special needs are taken into consideration in the project design.
you.